Laura Zinzer asked a question which prompted one soundbite that we're going to have. Hi, Chief Concern. Sorry I'm late. If you already discussed Jake Briningstool, we have not. What do you think about this tight end UDFA? Well, if you were listening to our Monday morning tight end shows or pre-draft shows, JD had Jake Briningstool as one of his favorite tight ends in this draft. So JD's been on the Jake Briningstool bandwagon for a long time. And Jake Briningstool talked about the Chiefs recruiting him post-draft. So here is Jake Briningstool on coming to Kansas City.
Coach Reid on the phone, I think, he laid out a great, plan for me, kind of just the situation, being able to come in here and learn from, a great tight end room, and just be able to, take full advantage of that opportunity. And I think, also this offense, I think it fits my skill set and stuff I do really well. So I'm glad to be here and excited to go to work.
Andy was part of the recruiting pitch before you made the decision. Did you expect, was that typical with some of the other places you're getting called that the head coach was calling too?
No, that was pretty unique to hear, which kind of really stood out to me, just showing how much they valued me, how much they cared. So I think that's really what stuck out about here. So.
And then why did you say that you think this offense fits your skill set?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, what Travis has been able to do. I think it's very appealing to somebody that plays tight end. And I think, just being able to come in here and learn from him, learn from the other guys that, really play at a high level, and just be able to, come in here and use my skill set and, see how I can make an impact.
So, yeah, I don't know if you guys caught that in the beginning. So the question was pretty much saying that Andy Reid was the only head coach that actually called him. There's 4 teams interested in him, and of those 4 teams, Andy Reid was the only head coach to call him and make a plea for him to come to Kansas City. Not plea, but, tell him to come to Kansas City. And then also, too, I didn't have the soundbite in there. We always talk about every year. We talk about the tight end that we draft or sign, Travis Kelce 2.0, all this stuff. He said he's not about the comparisons. He's just going to do his job. So he's not about the comparisons. So there you go, JD, Jake Briningstool. Now that we have him, I know you're a huge fan. Yeah. What do you make of what you heard in that soundbite there? How the team obviously values him, and then also just him kind of soaking up the Kansas City Red.
Great temperament. I feel like this was probably one of our best signings that we had. We got him as an undrafted free agent. This guy should have easily been drafted. For whatever reason, teams didn't take a chance on him. I think it's going to be a mistake. I think if we give him an opportunity to come out here and play and show what he can do, this kid is very athletic. He can catch the football. He's very good one-on-one. He knows how to get open in zone. He can do it all. He really can. Kind of undersized, 6'6". I think he's like 242, 246, somewhere around there. But you can see he's silky and he's smooth in his route running. He knows how to make plays. He go up and get the ball. He understands how good of an athlete and how good of a player he is. And so I think for him, he said it all. Who would pass up an opportunity to come and play for and play with some of the best in the business ever, right? One of the best coaches to ever do it and one of the best tight ends to ever do it as well. Who would want to pass up that opportunity? And to have that coach reach out to him, man, says volumes about it. That if Andy Reid reaches out to you, okay, personally, and says he wants you here, this guy is he's the real deal. And I was sitting there saying that. So me and Andy got the same mind about it, okay? And I told you, I don't know if people know this or not, but when I was coming out in the draft, Andy Reid was one of the guys that was recruiting me, okay? He was up there in Green Bay with Mark Chmura. And so I remember having conversations with Andy, back then. And so that feels great that somebody, position coach at the time, he called me, but for the head coach to call you, come on, man, that's on a whole different level. Andy knows what he's got with this guy. I guarantee, and I know they were sitting there saying, oh my gosh, not that they're happy he didn't go undrafted, but it's like, man, we got to call this kid up right now. And what you do is you send the boss there to go do it. You don't send some, lackey or somebody. You send a big guy. If you're going to do it, you're going to send the man. Andy Reid gave him a call, man. That says it all. At that point, hey, I don't care who else is looking for me. I am going to hear. Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, sign me up. But this dude right here, man, he's going to make a whole lot of teams pay for not signing him and drafting him. I'm telling you right now. He's just that good. He's just that good.
And obviously, you highlighted him because that was one of your favorite tight ends in this draft class. What stood out about him to you that was like, he would be a really good figure? And I know we talked in the past how you were a big Mike Gesicki fan. You said that, he doesn't really do much of the block. He doesn't really get his nose dirty. And you said he does kind of remind you of Gesicki, but he also gets his nose dirty. He doesn't mind blocking. What stood out to Briningstool about because you're very, people always, people laugh about your grades and stuff on the grade shows, but with tight ends, you're particularly hard on tight ends. I know you love the position group, you love tight ends, but you're particularly hard on tight ends. Last few draft classes, you weren't really outside of Bauer, you didn't really like the tight ends in last year's draft class. It's every year since we've been doing the show, you're never really high on the tight ends. It has to be someone that really needs to stand out. And the fact that you were so high on Briningstool, I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then we end up signing the guy. What stood out to you about him that just kind of they caught your eye?
I think, man, his athletic ability, him be able to catch the ball outside of his frame. And you see how he's just coming out of the break right here. Being able to get out of the break, sinking your hips, putting your foot in the ground, catching the ball on corners, safeties, and linebackers one-on-one, knowing how to get open, getting up the seam I seen him be able to do. And it was like he runs effortless. He does. So he has a great gait about him, the way he runs. I kind of made fun of Fanning and Harold Fanning Jr. because he has that little waddle, like a particular run he has. But look at him, man. I mean, he's an athlete. You could tell he's an athlete. So when he was talking about guys that he liked, I remember seeing him talk about Gesicki. Gesicki is a good route runner. He's a great receiver catching the football. When we were talking about guys that could catch a football more, or somebody that can do something close to what Travis Kelce can do, Briningstool stood out to me. As far as like athletic tight ends that came out in this draft, he was right up there with the top 5. He was for me. So you could do Colson, Warren, Arroyo, Mason Taylor. Briningstool was another guy that jumped off, the film to say this guy's another guy that can do it. And I use Oronde Gatson was another dude, but he plays big, man. He can make plays. I think for him, this is a great opportunity for him, man. But that's what it is. It's competitiveness too. So
yeah, I remember we had him projected to go higher than Gatson, and like he ends up falling. And I remember at post draft, we in our text, we were like, okay, well, hopefully we get Briningstool. And then while we're on our post draft show, day 3, I think Mike Brennan actually posted saying that we signed Briningstool, and you're over the moon about it. So yeah,
little things. So doing this little warm up, okay, and you check guys to warm up how they run, they bounce on their toes. And you can see how he's bouncing on his toes, man. It's easy for him. That's athletic ability. Look at that. I mean, he got wiggle in his hips. It reminds me of Travis. I mean, you got to have a wiggle in your hips as a tight end now today. Some tight ends get in and they chop and, put their foot in the ground and come out, and it slows them down for a linebacker or safety break on the football. But he's smooth. He puts his foot in the ground, no wasted movement. That's another thing. You don't want to waste any type of movement. Look at that. Look at that. He knows what he's doing. Look at the other guys kind of, what I'm saying? And it might just guys take
you can see the difference between the 3 guys.
You can see it. You can see it. So,
yeah.
I tell you what, man, he gets a chance and an opportunity to play, man. You'll see how good he is. We got a great tight end room. Him, Gray, Wiley, Travis, of course, Tanyan. I mean, we got the best tight end room in the NFL, period. Hands down. Not even close to me. I'm just telling you, it's not even close for anybody else to say what they got. So I hope we utilize this. I do.
Yeah, there's a reason why they kept bringing back Jody Fortson, right? Because they couldn't find that other guy. Now you have him, you have Gray, you have Wiley, you have Kelce. So I mean, it's a definitely an interesting tight end group for sure.
Hey man, skyscraper and cleats, as my brother Lance would say. And that's what it is. Big boys out there to play some ball.
About time says Casey knows how to create great tight ends. History shows. What have you talked to TG about the young buck wearing 88 yet?
I haven't. I have not. I just happen to see this right here, so I'm gonna tell him. I'm like, yo, man, who got your 88? We'll talk about it. So
There you go. So Jake Briningstool. Yeah, I'm excited about this kid.
Very excited.
Also, shout out Jake Briningstool and the Briningstool family. Briningstool family, they are originated from the Lansing, Michigan area. As you guys know, I used to report in Lansing, Michigan. It's my so-called second home, I would say. But yeah, they're originally from the Lansing area. I think they moved to Nashville. But yeah, their family's originally from the Michigan State area. So yeah. So shout out 517, baby.
Yeah.
That's the area code.
JD, why isn't Tony Gonzalez number not retired? That 88 should be retired. I have no idea. I don't know.
It's a good question because a lot of guys have worn that since him, and it is interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Good question. Very good question. I don't know. I don't know what the measure, how they have the metrics of it, of how they think should be retired or not. I'm not sure. So he's in the Ring of Honor. He's in the Hall of Fame. So.
Yeah, it is interesting though because like he's in the Ring of Honor and he's in the Hall of Fame. You would think that would be the measure to get the number retired. Because a lot of guys are in the Ring of Honor. I get that you can't retire everyone's number, but like the certain group that is in Ring of Honor and the Hall of Fame, I think that should be the threshold.
How many retired?
I would say 16 and 58 are the two ones that come to mind. So Lenny D and Derek Thomas.
Yeah. Well, the Chiefs retired 10 jersey numbers, 10 of them.
Ooh.
3, 16, 18, 28, 36, 58, 63, 78, and 86. So, so the following numbers: Jan Sternerud, Lynn Dawson, E.T. Emmett Thomas, Abner Hayes, Mackley Hill, Derek Thomas, Willie Lanier, Bobby Bell, and Buck Buchanan, respectively. That's the numbers. So, not Otis. I know Otis. I'm 89, so I had Otis's number.
That's
I was
true.
That too, so I don't know about time. Yeah, they ain't got Otis's number. So
interesting, huh? There you go. Unique. So, Jake Briningstool continuing the badass number 88 tight end trend. So here we go.
Maybe they start looking at some numbers like, wait a minute, hold on, we can't keep retiring these numbers like this. We got to.
I know. I think the Raiders have a lot of retired numbers because they've had a lot of Hall of Famers in their franchise. I thought the Raiders I think the Raiders actually lead the league in maybe retired numbers. I could be wrong about that, but I thought it was some sports trivia thing. I thought Raiders retired. You got to figure that. Okay, no, the Raiders do not have any. Okay, so yeah, that's what it was. Raiders don't have any retired numbers. They just let it all go. Yeah.
None, zero, no,
none.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. The Raiders do not have any retired jersey numbers. Unlike many other NFL teams, the Raiders do not officially retire the jerseys of past and players. This means that any number can be worn by any current player, regardless of Hall of Fame status. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I knew it was something weird like that where they didn't have any. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah. They're the only team to not do that. But anyway, Jake, we're rooting for you. Make 88 proud, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.